Hi, everyone. Talking today about Android's newest smartphone, the TCL 10 Pro. Talking with Matt Miller here for ZDNet today. And Matt, this is significant as it is the company's first, their own branded phone here in North America.
That's right. Yeah, TCL in the past has made once BlackBerry kind of sold off their hardware business, TCL made the BlackBerry phones that we've recently seen. They've also made the Alcatel phones. And now we have the TCL 10 Pro and the TCL 10, which I don't have, but I have the 10 Pro here. They're their first North American branded phones. And listeners and readers may know that TCL is well known for their TVs. There's a lot of TVs that they do in display technology and things. So it's great to see them getting into the phone. And as you can see here, I have the Ember Gray model, which this is actually glass, but it's a matte finish glass. So it feels great in the hand. It doesn't slide around much, and it's very attractive. It's a nice business looking phone too, with this gray transition. So this is a $450 phone. It's a mid-level phone. And using phones like this, I've been using it now for about 5 days. You kind of get a perspective of, why am I spending $1,000 on a phone? Now, just to be honest, this does have a mid-level processor, has a Snapdragon 675 processor, but the focus of this phone and TCL is really on the display technology, right? They make TV screens and all of that. So it's a 6.47-inch AMOLED display with what they call their Next Vision display engine. There's a bunch of if you watch movies or content on your phone, you're really going to like this display. And the nice thing about our phones is, what do we spend most of our time looking at? Is the display, right? So they've got wonderful colors on this thing. They've got technology for blue light filtering. They've got reading modes. A lot of things to help your eyes and the whole display experience are found on this phone, which is pretty great. And as you can kind of see, it's a full screen display. It has a curved edge on the sides.
Right.
There's very little bezels or anything else like that.
I was going to say, what about camera and thing like that?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if you saw that in that.
I noticed
you can
that.
see that, but there's a flashlight on each side of the camera array, which is kind of cool because when you turn on the flashlight, this thing gets really bright. You won't get lost in the dark.
Right.
But between the two flashlights, there's actually 4 cameras there. So there's a 64 megapixel main camera. And it doesn't, like all of the new flagships today, it doesn't actually capture a 64 megapixel image. It takes the 64 megapixel and then does pixel binning to give you a 16 megapixel. It takes 4 pixels into one. So you capture more data and get a higher quality photo. It also has a 16 megapixel ultra wide. So you get 123 degree field of view. And then it has a 5 megapixel macro. And flowers are blooming here in Washington. It's beautiful out. So I've been spending so much time, and bugs, right? Spiders and things. The macro mode is really fun. I'm really discovering how you can get, I think it's within, I think this phone is like within 3 centimeters. You can get really close to a subject. And a 5 megapixel, we've seen most of them nowadays have 2. So a 5 is a pretty good macro camera. And then it has an interesting 4th camera, which is a 2 megapixel super low light video. So a very specific use case. But I did record this weekend. We were at a family barbecue, and there was a couple of dogs running around. And it was dark out. So I tried that out with the dogs, and it did a pretty good job. So you don't really compromise much. It's a mid-level phone, but it has a lot of camera technology. The one thing people might say is, well, it's missing the telephoto, right? That we see on some flagships when you have this many cameras. But that's where that 64 megapixel main camera comes in, because when you have that many megapixels, you can use that and then zoom in. I know it's digital, but when you're capturing that much data, you can still get a pretty good quality photo, even without a dedicated telephoto camera lens on there.
Excellent. And I think at that obviously at that price point, people will be comparing this to, the new iPhone SE. So what are your thoughts there in terms of comparing them and seem to be similar in a lot of ways?
Yeah, and that's the first question I'm getting from everybody, because the one I bought is the 128 gigabyte one, which is the same price. So these are two $450 phones. The obvious difference is clearly the size. And if you're somebody that's really focused on your display, you're going to like the TCL. And if you want to do some more unique camera things, the iPhone has a great camera, but it's a single camera, right? There's limitations on the different kind of creative things it can do with that single megapixel camera. And then TCL is kind of amazing. I don't know if you see at the top, there's actually a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, which a lot of people still miss on their phones.
Wow. Yeah. Me.
And since this is TCL, it actually has an infrared port, which now we're talking 5 years ago or older when phones had these still. But you can use that infrared port on there to control your TVs, use it as a remote control and things like that. So it has a lot of things that it's offering in there that, at first I'm like, oh, why would I never not get an iPhone SE? It's a great price. But then
Right.
this comes out, I'm like, well, this offers quite a bit for that same price. So it's definitely something to consider.
Yeah, most definitely. And what do you think that it says, Matt, or does it say anything as far as where the market is going, or where people are, when you see this versus a $1,000
Yeah.
phone, or one of it makes you scratch your head a little bit about where you should really be spending your money.
Yeah, and especially during these times, right, when we're all, unemployment's going through the roof right now and all
Right.
this kind of stuff. And I think people are going to be a little bit more aware of, okay, do I really need to spend $1,000 on this brand new or 1,500 or whatever? I mean, to be honest, I've been using this for a week with my primary sim. I haven't really felt I've given up anything to do that. I've taken some great photos. I listened to the music. It does everything I want it to do, and it has a big, huge display. So
Right.
I think it's changing the game nowadays that we're looking at $400 and $500 phones rather than the flagships, and we'll probably see that in the future. Of can these flagships really compete at those high prices?
Absolutely. And like you said, too, in light of recent times and what we're going through, it'll be interesting to see down the
Yeah,
road how it turns out. All right. Well,
absolutely.
very good, Matt. I know you've got way more information, of course, and we do on the TCL 10 Pro up on ZDNet. So thanks for being with us today, Matt. And we hope you guys will check that out again on ZDNet. Thanks so much for watching.